All right, Kevin back with you for another episode of the $1 Million Relationships Podcast. And today I'm here with Matthew Stafford. Matthew, welcome. So awesome to have you on the show today.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
I'll tell you, I am looking forward to this too. And you and I, we met through your PR person reached out to me, and now because it's been a little while ago, I can't remember exactly what they said in their message to me, but they did one heck of a job of talking you up, Matthew, because I was like, heck yeah, I want to talk with Matthew and get to know him. And so you and I have had a couple conversations and stuff already, and I have been really looking forward to doing this interview with you today and stuff.
Yeah, well,
And
I guess when she does that, I better deliver or else she's
yeah,
gonna.
right. Yeah, she set the bar high.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
well, I don't think that's going to be a problem based on the conversations we've had outside before this. So,
yeah,
well, what
agreed.
I want to do is I just want to start off by let's just. I'll just have a couple really simple questions to start with. What do you do and who do you serve?
Yeah, so there's two different audiences, and one kind of led into the other. So for the last 12 years, we help people with their websites create more conversions.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, or the easiest way for me to describe it is you don't have a traffic problem because most websites convert around 2 or 3% of their site visitors.
Mhm.
And when I looked at that data, most business owners were saying, okay, I need more traffic. And I'm like,
Yeah, because they're
no,
2 to 3% is totally acceptable to them.
yeah, that's the average.
Yeah.
And so what I said was the way that I look at this is I had 97 or 98 people raise their hand, come to my website and leave without buying. If I get two or three more of those 97 or 98, I doubled my business on the same amount of ad spend. And
Mhm.
so I started digging into the data and analytics that tells us what people are doing on the website in order to improve it. And by doing that, like we've literally created, I think 6 years in, we had tracked over $600 million through our shopping carts. And now it's been 12 years, and so I would say we're probably over a billion. That doesn't even matter. Most people don't understand what 600 million is. So,
Right.
yeah.
It will just say it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's enough so that yeah, we're pretty good at what we do and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we've looked at enough data that we can see the trends. Yeah.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So, Matthew, what inspires you most about the work you get to do and the impact you get to make?
Yeah, that's a great question because that kind of leads into the second aspect. I fell upon this about a little almost 4 years ago. I started coaching one of my entrepreneurs that we were partnered with on their store
Okay.
because he was struggling with some of the mental head trash that most business owners deal with. And me being able to coach him through that, he's actually been my biggest or best case study.
Wow.
We ended up doing $1 million in sales in the first 12 months. He
Okay.
did $13.5 million the second 12 months, so he almost 14x his business.
Wow.
The third year he did 36.8, and then this year he'll do a little over 50 million.
So
And
1 to 14 million to then how much the next year?
36.8, and then this
Okay.
year he'll do about 50.
Man, that is some serious growth right there over
Yeah.
just a few years.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
and what I realized is from that I discovered most businesses don't have a business problem; they have a people problem.
mhm.
And when the entrepreneur gets some coaching, the entire business does better. So typically, what I see is the entrepreneur is the bottleneck. Their beliefs and their stories that they bring to their leadership trickles down into the organization and creates the organization that they have. And so, true to form, you and I have had some very open, honest, very authentic conversations. And when you do that, it allows you to unearth the stories that we all have that are holding us back. And
Yeah.
so, um, yes, I help them clear out the head trash, and then their business works better. And what we do when we analyze their website is create more conversions, and it's kind of like that trickle down effect.
Yeah. 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 Well, so one of the questions I like to ask you, you already kind of shared on this, but I'm gonna ask it again because I'm gonna draw more out of you. Because I like to ask what's an example of a result you have helped a client get that you're just incredibly proud of. And I'm sure, the one you just shared was probably an
Yeah.
example. What's another example?
Yeah, so I have another one, two business partners. They have a very good business, and in the last 6 or 7 months of us doing their optimization and then me coaching the business owners, they're getting ready to pull those same type of numbers where
Wow.
uh, they're literally their worst month last year. We just went through it August of this year, and it was their best month that they've had in 12 months.
Wow.
So
Wow.
within 1 year, we've turned it around to take their very worst month and make it the best month in 12 months. And they're
That's
stacking
awesome.
on top of that, which is
That,
just, it goes more to, it's not what I'm doing. It's them finding what's true for them and then being able to clearly communicate
mhm.
with their team what they need.
Yeah.
And that's what gets the results. I don't want people to think like I have this magic ability to, uh, I can look at data and tell you what's not working and give you good ideas about it, but there's also a story that you're carrying that when we unearth that, it's going to make the biggest difference.
So this is a really interesting because I have never heard, like, I mean, do you consider yourself an agency?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are the first agency owner I have ever heard talk like this. Because I don't know of any other agency owners that are not they're just going in and doing their thing and doing what they're good at and stuff. But you're doing that, but then there's also you're working with the founders, the owners of the companies that you serve and helping them personally too in a way that I have never heard another agency ever talk about.
Yeah. Well, for me, it came from, well, I don't want to tell the story before you ask me about,
Okay.
the person that made the difference. But yeah, I my background is I had a very violent childhood.
Okay.
And so I had a lot of unhealthy stories. And I would continue to create success to feel better. And then when that success would get better than what my internal belief was, I would find a way to sabotage it.
Okay.
And so in my journey of trying to figure out how to stop doing that, I learned that I was the common denominator in all of that. And so that's true of all business owners, that they're the common denominator in the things that they do well and the things that they don't do well. And typically that follows them. And so, me going through that journey myself gives me the ability to have those honest conversations with them in order
Yeah.
to unearth that. And a lot of times, that's all it takes is just becoming aware of it. We don't make any new decisions on things that we're unaware of. So
Mhm.
just becoming aware of where that's showing up in our life a lot of times is enough to make that shift.
Okay. So I look at this is like a 1-2 punch kind of a thing, and you're the only one doing it. And so what like if you had to like say, okay, what percentage of this results come from the strategic and tactical stuff you do, the website work versus the work you're doing with the clients? How would you split that up? Is that 50-50? Is it 80-20, 60-40? What has been your experience with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't think I've ever tried to quantify it that
Okay.
way. Um, and I'm not sure how I would because I am really
Okay.
good with numbers. Um, yeah, I think that there is intangibles. Obviously, the changes that we make to the website are based off of the data. The way that the business owner leads and communicates with the team and has the emotional intelligence to get what he wants, or explain what he needs from the team. Certainly, I would say that the website is good for the tactics and the data, and then the emotional intelligence is good for having the entire team on the same page. So it really is, like you said, it's a 1-2 punch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I think they both make each other better, to be
Yeah,
honest.
totally. Well, and I know from personal experience that how we show up energetically, that makes all the difference in the world. That makes
Yes.
all the difference in the world. And for somebody who hasn't experienced that and haven't experienced the before and after transformation of that, of this is how I showed up before. And once I got it, this is how I started showing up. And this is what started happening that wasn't happening before.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
is like
So,
night and day.
yeah, right before this conversation, I was on with the two business partners, and they were talking about the necessary need for them to have a lot of level 10 meetings. And I'm like, most of the reason why you're having these level 10 meetings is because you're not communicating well enough, that these things are starting to build up until it gets to this, breaking point. And so, one way to clear that up is in having conversations. Could you repeat back what you heard me say? Because I'm not a good communicator. I tend to communicate in bullet points, not details. And I just want to make sure that I communicated it to you in a way that you can give me what I was looking for. And by doing that, like, you've managed the expectations, you've given them the ability to ask you questions to get clarity, and then there's way less back and forth.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's just one way where, when you show up from the standpoint of, hey, I know I don't do this well, I'm asking you so that we can have good, clear expectations, and you'll be able to deliver what I want the first time instead of
Yeah.
going back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So, from your vantage point right now, what's your vision for your company going forward from here?
I love helping business owners succeed through their website, creating, what I say is, we help people build their dreams.
Mhm.
uh, if your website's working really well and it creates a profitable business, you tend to be a better parent, a better spouse, do more for your neighborhood, all of that. And so I feel like there's a ripple effect by helping people be successful. And I love solving problems. So, yeah, I think that I'll be doing this for a long time. It's not that hard. I sit on a computer and look at a bunch of numbers and break them down. So,
Yeah. Yeah. My buddy Michael, gosh, this would have been, man, long time because, like, man, I was consulting. I was investing in his help all the way back in like '05, '06. But I know one of the examples we were talking about was, the difference between the two dads and the two married dads and the one guy who's doing well in business. He comes home and finds out that his boys were playing football in the house, and they threw the football and they busted a lamp and knocked it over. And he's like, he might be frustrated with them a little bit. You guys know better than to throw the football in the house, but he didn't give much thought to it. But the guy who's struggling, and where now that football hitting that lamp and busted means now he's got to figure out where he's going to come up money to replace that lamp, or if he's even going to be able to. And now his response to that is way different.
yes. Yeah.
And man, you're just dead on right that when we've got the financial house in order and stuff, it just relieves pressure,
Yeah.
relieves pressure, takes weight off that, like, okay, we got our house taken care of.
Yeah. And I think I have a lot of internal, memories around those struggles. And so
Yeah.
when I see that someone else doesn't have to have the same struggle, it doesn't have to be as hard if they have a support system.
Yeah.
For me, that's very fulfilling.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. So now that we've got some context set here, I want to switch gears just a little bit. And I want to ask you the question around relationships. So, Matthew, have you ever been introduced to a person or persons who completely changed the course of your life or your business? So much so that much of what you have today wouldn't be possible if not for this person or persons. And I'm just really excited to hear your story and your experience around this topic of relationships.
Yeah, so I will. And it basically came full circle from me providing value on a Facebook post. A guy saw my response in a thread and I answered a few questions,
Okay.
and he sent me a private message and just said, "Hey, I would like to talk to you about some website work." And so I thought, cool, it's about working on a website. And when I started talking to him and I found out more about what he did, uh, he started asking questions from me and said, was there anything that I was struggling with? And at the time, I needed to get up and give a presentation in front of, about 300 business owners that were all very high level business owners, and that created a lot of stress and anxiety for me. And so I told him that, and he took me through a somatic process, and it was pretty wild. I felt better right then. But
Okay.
what I noticed is 2 weeks later, when I gave that presentation, um, I didn't think about it till after I got off stage, and I was like, "Oh man, normally I'm like all sweaty and anxious, and I'm worried about having something in my hand so that I know what to do with them, and all these other things that go through your mind that I didn't even think about." I got up on stage, gave the presentation, it went great, and then I realized afterwards, wow, that's from that process that we went through. So I reached out to him to thank him for that, and then ended up signing up for his thing that he teaches, which is a bunch of somatic work and whole different processes around that. And that's actually what I use with my entrepreneurs that I coach. And so I would tell you, yeah, it 100% changed my life because I use it in all different things when I come up against personal roadblocks, and then I use that to help my entrepreneurs succeed at a much higher level.
Yeah. Yeah. So what going into that speaking engagement, what was the potential outcome that could have came from that best scenario and what actually ended up coming from that after working with this gentleman?
Yeah, instead of me getting up there and just making it about how smart I was and all the wins that we had for other companies, it was I had a different mindset of how do I get up there and serve the audience and provide value. And it didn't really change my slides, but I think the way that I communicated, one, where I would be nervous because I'm talking about myself, and two, now I feel good because I'm actually here to serve you by sharing this information with you. And we did end up getting some clients out of it. People reached out and were like, man, that information you shared was great. I never thought about my website that way. And they, you know, did business with us. And I think that was a direct relation of him helping me shift that.
Yeah. Yeah. Guaranteed for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So how long ago, how many years ago was it that you had this experience with him to start with?
A little over 4 years ago,
So it's been
almost 5
4
years.
years. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's an example of a situation where you got to make a really big impact, maybe even in the moment, maybe it even surprised you a little bit, where you were like, wow, look at what just happened there. And you also know that would have never been possible if not for your relationship with this individual we've been talking about.
Yeah, I have a client who, I'm trying to think of how I share this with, just to keep her anonymity.
Sure.
She had dealt with a really traumatic thing. She lost a child.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, the emotions started surfacing when we were having a conversation. And I just asked her if she would, if I could help her, if she would be open to that. And she said yes. And I've literally done this process now hundreds of times with a lot of different people. And so I was able to take her through that process and help her um, unstick that frozen emotion that she had around that loss. And we've become extremely good friends from that because it tend to, if someone helps you through a very difficult time,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, you create a bond. And so for me, I love the fact that I was able to support her through that. And, we've just become really good friends from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know the feeling that I get when I get to make introductions for a couple of entrepreneurs and it leads to just such a great outcome. And that I know how amazing that feels, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm with you. I mean, it's like and how awesome is it that you can be that kind of a guy, you know, and just help people in that way? Because when you as soon as you said, losing a child, I've got 7 kids, and I could only imagine what that would feel. And us guys, I don't know that we deal with it better or not. But I will tell you, I couldn't even imagine what my wife would be like if we lost a child, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, man, oh man, I'd be calling you.
Yeah.
And so, and it's interesting. Last year, our youngest of our older daughters, her and her husband, they were trying to have a baby and they had a miscarriage, and that really took a toll on
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
you know.
Sure.
And now they're pregnant again and going to have another baby in March and stuff. But it took them a good year of just like, okay, we're just going to take a pause here for a little while, you know.
Yeah.
And even in that, at the beginning of this pregnancy, she was like overly concerned in the beginning just because of the past experience, you know.
Yeah. For sure.
And I, she seems like she's doing really great now. We found out that her progesterone levels were really low, so she's just taking progesterone, and everything's been great. And I don't think it's weighing on her too much right now and stuff. It doesn't seem to be, anyways.
Yeah.
And because she's one of those gals that if something's on her mind, you're going to know about. I will
Yeah.
definitely know. She will not. She will speak her mind about anything
That's
and
good. That's
everything.
good. I always tell everybody our secrets is what keeps us sick. So,
Yeah,
no secrets.
yeah,
Everything's welcome.
yeah, yeah. So, well, Matthew, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation today. And for anybody that's listening to this going, man, Kevin, I really love Matthew. I love who he is. I love how he shows up. I mean, I appreciate what he shared. And you know what, man, maybe it might make sense to talk with him about our business, or I know somebody else I want to connect him with too and stuff. Any websites, any resources we can share with folks?
Yeah, if you go to buildgrowthscale.com
Okay.
or send me an email at matt@buildgrowthscale.com, and you can just mention that you heard on Kevin's podcast, and
Okay.
I'll give you a free audit. Like we'll jump on a call and I'll go through your website and provide you some value and see if that works for you. And
Awesome.
if you want to do business, we can. And if not, I'll give you some free value.
Awesome. Well, what a generous offer. Thanks for that, Matthew.
Yeah.
Any last thing you feel led to share before we call it a wrap?
I just say thank you to you and really grateful for the conversations that we've had already. And you introduced me to a couple people that I've really enjoyed getting to know as well. So yeah, just like I try to do the very best I can. I know that you show up that same way and you have
Yeah.
for me already. And so thank you.
Well, you're so welcome. And once again, thanks so much for taking the time to have this conversation today. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you, and I'm excited to get this out there and share it with folks. So thank you.